There's been a few moments already at a very early age where he's captured our attention with just that singular moment, that singular play on the ice. It's hard to envision a scenario where Gavin McKenna isn't the first overall pick next year. He's a trailblazer in and of himself as a hockey player, as a first.
Some scouts say that the 2026 NHL draft consensus #1 pick for the Toronto Maple Leafs is Gavin McKenna.
2-on-1 shorthanded with speed. Pacheco the trailer. McKenna, what a move! Gavin McKenna, mastery!
He has Patrick Kane's hands and Sidney Crosby's complete game. Others say he's the most overhyped kid since Shane Wright. Both groups are watching the same player. NHL journalists are calling Gavin McKenna Edmonton Oilers captain Connor McDavid Jr. That's how good and how complicated Gavin McKenna actually is. He grew up in Whitehorse, Yukon. Population at 28,000. Shooting 100 pucks a day on a backyard rink his dad built in -30-degree weather. He left home at 12 years old. He just set an end. Gavin McKenna a generational talent? Or is he the best? Just over 28,000. The kind of place where winter temperatures drop to -30 and the sun barely shows its face for months. No elite development programs, no high-performance academies, no scouts driving through on their way to somewhere else. In McKenna's own words, pretty remote. Long days of summer and long nights of winter. Pretty much just a hockey city, though. Everywhere you look, there's an outdoor rink. I'm very grateful to grow up there. His father, Willie, a former competitive player himself, built a backyard outdoor rink every single winter. Even in -30, that rink became Gavin's laboratory. 100 shots a day, every day. Not because a coach told him to, because he couldn't stop. He'd watch Patrick Kane highlights on YouTube, then immediately sprint outside and try to replicate the moves himself. Wore number 88 whenever he could. Studied Kane's quick hands, his deception, his creativity, and tried to build those things into his own game before he was old enough to drive. But McKenna's story has layers that go far beyond hockey. He's a citizen of the Trondequetchin First Nation. His grandfather, Joe Mason, survived Canada's residential school system, a system that forced Indigenous children to deny their culture and language. Joe became Gavin's biggest mentor, instilled a competitive fire that no development program could manufacture. Of all the trophies McKenna has won, and there are a lot, the one he's most proud of is a framed 2022 Role Model of the Year award from the Trondequetchin First Nation. Not a scoring title, not a championship, a Role Model award. At 12 years old, he left his family and moved to British Columbia, living with another family his parents trusted, and to chase a dream that nobody in the Yukon had ever chased at that level. 12 years old. The community of Whitehorse helped fund the travel. Growing up, I'd go up to people and ask for sponsorships, McKenna said. The community of Whitehorse is very giving and caring for their athletes. They were all willing to help me out where they could. And that's where this started. Not in a high-key factory, not in a suburb with 3 rinks within driving distance, in a city of 28,000 people, on a backyard rink in -30. A 14-year-old debut, 4 assists, and a point streak nobody had touched. Too young, too small. Too much hype for a kid from the Yukon.
Fights off a check, gets it back. Here's a chance. McKenna to the slot. Big rebound. Scores!
That was the whisper when Medicine Hat selected McKenna first overall in the 2022 WHL Bantam Draft, making him the first Yukon-born player ever drafted first overall in the Western Hockey League. He made his WHL debut as a 14-year-old affiliate player. His very first game, 4 assists. 14 years old, 4 assists. First game, the whispers stopped. His full rookie season, 97 points in 61 games.
Tigers shorthanded, come through center. McKenna in the left circle. Oh! He's playing it on rookie modes.
34 goals, 63 assists. A 16-year-old playing against guys 4 and 5 years older than him every single night, named WHL and CHL Rookie of the Year. Then came the 2024-25 season. And this is where McKenna stopped being a great prospect and started being something historic. 129 points in 56 games, 41 goals, 88 assists. Led the WHL in assists. Best plus-minus in the league at +60.
Down the left wall, he'll touch one, bottom of the left circle. Ryder Ritchie centers it for Weisblatt. Weisblatt back for McKenna. And alone, Gavin McKenna score!
And then the streak. 40 consecutive games with a point during the regular season. Then 14 more playoff games added to it. 54 consecutive games with a point. Modern CHL record dating back to 2000. Nobody had touched it. In total, across the regular season, playoffs, and Memorial Cup, 173 points in 76 games.
McKenna skates onto it at center, down the left wing. McKenna, shorthanded, shoots, scores!
Since 2000, only 3 17-year-olds have scored at least 120 points in a single WHL season. Nick Payton with 120, Connor Bedard with 149, McKenna with 129. That's the company. The doubters who said he was too young, too small, too hyped, they were watching the same games as everyone else. They just couldn't explain what they were seeing. He chose the hardest path, then dominated it. Too risky, the NCAA will expose him. He should stay in the WHL where he's comfortable. That was the criticism when McKenna announced on July 8, 2025, on ESPN's SportsCenter, that he was committing to Penn State. The Hockey News called it a huge blow to Canada's traditional major junior leagues. McKenna's answer was simple. Playing against 24-year-olds, there's no time and space. I thought it would make that jump to the next level a little bit easier. He wanted the hardest test available. Here's what happened. 51 points in 35 games, 15 goals, 36 assists, tied for 5th in the entire NCAA, second in the nation in points per game at 1.46.
Far side, Godowski across McKenna, one-timer, he scores! Gavin McKenna's first collegiate goal!
Penn State's first ever Big Ten scoring champion, Big Ten Freshman of the Year, Hobie Baker Award top 10 finalist, as a freshman, as an 18-year-old, and then February 20th, 2026, Ohio State, 11-4 final. McKenna, 1 goal, 7 assists, 8 points, the most points scored in an NCAA Division I game in 39 years. The 7 assists were the most in a single NCAA game since 1983.
McKenna, the low drive, scores! Gavin McKenna, 2-0!
Penn State assistant coach Andrew Sturtz said it after the game. His IQ, his brain, he sees plays in real time that other players can't. Sometimes you are just like, how did he do that? The critics who said the NCAA would expose him, they're still looking for the exposure. The work ethic story. Nobody tells. 7:30 to 9. That wasn't coach-driven. That was him. Here's the story that tells you more about McKenna's ceiling than any stat line. His first WHL season, he was averaging about 1.3 points per game. Most players would be thrilled with that as a rookie. McKenna came back from Christmas break and told his coach Willie Desjardins, "That's not good enough. I got to get better." Nobody asked him to say that. No coach pulled him aside. No performance review triggered it. He identified the problem himself. Then he fixed it himself. He demanded daily video sessions. He started skating after practice. Hard, intense sessions that nobody scheduled. Desjardins watched it happen and described it plainly. That wasn't coach-driven. That was him. The result? In January alone, McKenna averaged 2.6 points per game, which led the entire WHL. Desjardins put the full picture together. His vision is incredible. I worked with a lot of good players, and he's up there with them. His drive to become great. He wants to be a great player, not just average. He loves winning. He cheers for his teammates. He really cheers for them. He's excited for them. That's the type of person you want in your organization. That last part matters as much as the hockey, because the question about McKenna has never really been about his talent. It's been about whether the talent comes with the compete level to survive the NHL. That Christmas break story answers the question. The honest case against him, 9-11. The concerns are real. Here's what both sides are actually saying. Let's give the doubters their full argument, because they deserve it. Size, 5'11", 170 pounds. The NHL is a man's league. Centers get physically dominated every night. McKenna has never played against men. 5-on-5 play. Some scouts flagged that his best work came in structured situations, power play, controlled zone entries, not in the chaos of even strength hockey against elite competition. The Shane Wright comparison. Wright was the consensus #1 pick in 2022. Dominant junior numbers, unanimous top ranking. Went 5th overall after scouts started questioning whether his game would translate. McKenna has heard the same whispers. The legal situation. January 31st, 2026. The same night 74,000 fans watched him play at Beaver Stadium. McKenna was involved in an altercation in downtown State College, charged with felony aggravated assault on February 4th. The felony was dropped on February 6th after video review. Misdemeanor charges remain. McKenna addressed it directly. "Those first 2 days were some of the craziest days of my life. Obviously, there was a big reaction to it, and it got a bit blown out of proportion. But honestly, I think going through a little adversity at this time, it helps me. I've learned a lot from it." One scout who evaluated him extensively said, From the information I gathered, I don't consider it to be a big deal or something that would affect his draft stock at all. Now here's the honest counter to every concern. On size, Kane was never the biggest guy on the ice either. McKenna's game is built on deception and anticipation, not physical dominance. The players who've tried to use size against him in the NCAA have watched him make them look slow. On 5-on-5 play, the NHL executive who watched him all season said it directly. His game really grew in the second half of the season, especially after World Juniors. He was playing against players 5 to 7 years older than him. He most definitely improved his play away from the puck. For me, he is number one. On Shane Wright, Wright's production dropped in his draft year. McKenna's has gone in one direction. Every level, every year. The doubters have a case. The evidence keeps dismantling it. The scouts actually say 11 to 12:30. When every expert agrees, that's not hype. That's a verdict. May 5th, 2026, Secaucus, New Jersey, NHL. Draft Lottery Night. The combination drops. Toronto wins. And John Chayka walks to the podium with a kind of measured calm that hides how badly he wanted this name. He's an exciting player. The skill level, the creativity, his puck ability, and his shot release is all pretty special. It's a good package, measured, careful, but you could hear it underneath. He knew what Toronto just got. Every major draft ranking has McKenna at number 1. Elite Prospects, TSN, NHL Central Scouting, Daily Faceoff, unanimous. NHL Central Scouting Director Dan Marr. Gavin McKenna is an elite talent with exceptional hockey sense, quickness, and maturity, which has allowed him to dictate the play and influence games at every level he's played. He possesses a combination of unteachable skills and attributes, which place him in a category of his own as the top prospect for the 2026 NHL Draft. Jean-François Damphous from Central Scouting went further. Patrick Kane and the quick hands, the creativity. He's got the high compete, reliability of a Sidney Crosby. Kane's hands, Crosby's compete. That's not one scout on a message board. That's the people who evaluate players for a living, using the two most decorated forwards of the last 20 years as the comparison points. The scouts who love McKenna aren't just talking about what he does, they're talking about the unteachable things, the hockey sense, the composure, the compete level that shows up in the moments when most teenagers disappear. That's the verdict from the people whose entire job is being right about this. Toronto, and what it means for the rest of the league, 12:30 to 13:30. The third time, Toronto was picked first, and the stakes have never been higher. On May 5th, 2026, the Toronto Maple Leafs won the NHL Draft Lottery with 8.5% odds. Third time in franchise history picking first overall, Wendell Clark in 1985, Austin Matthews in 2016, McKenna in 2026. And here's what the rest of the league needs to understand. Toronto already has Austin Matthews, one of the greatest goal scorers in franchise history.
Here's Kapanen. Matthews, time winding down, he scores! Austin Matthews!
A player who has spent 10 years looking for a winger whose entire game is built around creating for elite finishers. McKenna is exactly that player. The deception, the look-offs, the tight edge work that manipulates defenders before the pass is even released. Put that next to Matthews at 5-on-5. And the combination the rest of the league has to defend becomes something they've never seen before. If McKenna is selected, and he will be, he becomes the first Penn State men's hockey player ever taken in the first round of the NHL Draft. The most notable NHLer from the Yukon. A player carrying the hopes of the Trondoquechin First Nation and the community of Whitehorse that helped fund a kid's dream when nobody outside the territory had ever heard his name. The pressure in Toronto is unlike anywhere else in hockey. And McKenna's response to pressure at every level, in every big moment, has been the same. He gets better. The scouts who called him overhyped are watching him set NCAA records that stood for 39 years. The scouts who called him a marketing story are watching him dominate players 5 to 7 years older than him, and then demand more from himself when the numbers aren't good enough. The scouts who said the Yukon couldn't produce a first overall pick, they're watching Toronto celebrate a lottery win. Here's the honest answer to the question. McKenna is not the finished product yet. Nobody at 18 is. But he has the skill, the compete, the character, and the work ethic that every franchise in this league would trade their entire prospect pool to get. Is he generational? Ask him again in 5 years. But the kid who shot 100 pucks a day in -30, who left home at 12, whose grandfather survived residential schools and taught him to compete like his life depended on it, who came back from Christmas break and said, "That's not good enough," without anyone asking him to. That kid, you don't bet against him. June 26th is coming, and Gavin McKenna is about to answer the question himself. Drop it in the comments. How good do you actually think McKenna is? Generational or overhyped? And what does he look like in a Toronto uniform next to Austin Matthews? Hit subscribe, because the answer is coming, and you're going to want to be here for it.